So this is a conversation that I had with my mentor, and as a breeder, you really have to ask yourself, when do I say enough is enough? What's going on, Bully fam? It's your boy, the educator, the scientist, Mr. Double Muscle Line Bulls, bringing you another episode of Breeders Hacks. So today, this is more of just a bully rant, a little conversation I wanted to have with y'all. It's really like hot outside. Like we're talking about 90-degree weather. So hot. I don't want to be outside. So if you think, I'm gonna have my dogs outside, you're sadly mistaken. So it's just way too hot. We're all just chilling in the AC. But I still make sure each dog, they're getting played with, getting, that one-on-one attention. So right now I have, this is Double Cross's sister. This is a Crossbone's daughter, Powder Puff. So she's just getting some love right now and stuff. But yeah, so the conversation that I wanted to have with y'all was a conversation that my mentor had with me. It's funny because that's how Breeders Hacks kind of came about. Is when I put this channel together, I wanted it to be that every time you watch something, you learn something new. Because every time I sat down with my mentor, when we would talk, I would learn something new. So I just try to do the same thing here. So this episode is actually like me talking to you guys, just like he spoke to me when one day he sat me down. And this is at the time I only had maybe like one, maybe two dogs. And he said, well, what's the count? What's the amount of dogs, what's the max that you'll have? And I'm like, as a dog breeder, like what do you mean? Like, I'm gonna always have dogs. Like, I didn't really understand what he was asking. But he went on to really say, like, so what's the max amount of dogs that you will allow yourself to have in your care at any given time? And I was like, well, I never really thought about that because I only had like one or two dogs at the time. When you're smaller, you don't really think about these things. But as he went to stress to me, he was like, well, it can happen really fast. If you got two, maybe three females, you breed those females and you want to keep puppies off of them. Then you breed those puppies, you want to keep puppies off of them. Next thing you know, you're at 15, 20 dogs really fast. So with that being said, like I was just like, holy cow, like I never really thought about it. And I see now exactly what he was talking about. So I just say to you guys, like, what's the max? What's the most amount of dogs that you allow yourself to have in your care? So for some of you breeders that may have been breeding for a while, you maybe already know this, maybe you don't. Maybe you're a newer breeder, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, But this was something that, I came across and really put into perspective when I really kind of became a breeder. Now, don't get me wrong, like, even fast forward to today, I dog breed full time. I still have a set number in my mind that I will not go over because that will take away from each individual dog. They won't be able to get the amount of care that they need because it just becomes too much at that point. So I have a max number in my head that I won't pass. And don't get me wrong, those numbers can go up and down based off of your situation. You can be, prime example was before I owned my home, the number was less.
Sometimes less is more.
Hang on, mama. Before I owned my home, the number was less. As I owned my home, the numbers went up. And as I continue, the goal is to build a bigger facility. It'll become more dogs, but it's within reason. It can't be where, like I said, because of the numbers of dogs now, it's taking away from the quality of life that each dog gets to live. So that's just something to be mindful of because you want to be able to have time to enjoy these dogs. Otherwise, you're gonna be miserable. Trust me, I've been there. I was at a point that I had too many dogs. And I realized exactly what my mentor was talking about. Luckily, I was well networked and connected enough that I knew really good people to do co-owns with. And that's a key thing. A lot of people don't do co-owns now, but hey, leverage that so that you can have more dogs, but not have more dogs, I guess, if that makes sense. They're in other homes getting amazing care, as long as you pick the right individuals. Amazing care, and they're at your disposal to use. You have to be crafty like that, But that's just something I want you guys to be mindful of, and that's a question to ask. And hey, drop a comment down below. And what's your number, so then other breeders can see and whatnot. But like I said, it's just something that I really had to put into perspective, and I want you guys to put into perspective. And it's something very real, I see some people get way in over their heads because of the fact that they take on more than they can chew. So I think it's just good food for thought, and asking yourself, what's the number that you can take care of, certain standard that you have, that the dogs get a certain amount of quality of life. And once that starts to diminish, that's when you hit your number. So more dogs doesn't always necessarily mean better, because if you have too many dogs, it can affect, you may be swamped, you may miss breedings, it can just affect everything. So more dogs doesn't always necessarily mean the better. So I just wanted to have this conversation with you guys, and really, like I said, think about that, and you don't have to have the answer right now, but that is something, as a breeder, you aim to get that answer. I have a certain amount of pens, a certain amount of kennels. Anything over that, it's not happening. I just know that I'll be miserable if I try to take care of more dogs than I can handle. Same thing goes for my wife. So anyway, guys, just wanted to share that little gem with you guys, and if you found this helpful, useful, it gives you something to think about that maybe you didn't think about before, please like, share, and subscribe. And like I said, I just want to have more little chit chats and talks like this with you guys over, also the ethics, just giving the dogs a good quality life too. So anyway, I hope this information was helpful. I hope it was useful. I'm going to chillax with the rest of these guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Breeders Hacks.